Hey, everybody. I'm sitting here in beautiful, sunny Phoenix, Arizona with the CEO of DevHub. And I have to thank my friend and former colleague, Merrick Lee, for introducing us. Um, I've spoken to a bunch of you over the last couple of months or so, and I know that some people are getting a little bit nervous, and I, in particular, have frequently recommended WordPress and WP Engine as really the ideal combination of platforms. Have a safe, secure website and on a platform that you can hire people, open source solution, really the best combination going. Well, now, as you're probably aware, they've been suing each other. And as I'm watching this play out in the news, I'm wondering, well, if they're so busy suing each other, who's minding the store and making sure that these platforms and systems are really running as well as we need them to, which got me thinking a little bit about content management systems. And I'm realizing I need to learn more about them and see what else is out there. And that's what opened the door to a conversation with DevHub. So anyway, so thanks for taking some time to speak with me here, Mark. I think one of my questions I have is, I'm kind of wondering like where you guys came from, because it seems like all of a sudden a couple businesses I know have switched recently to DevHub, and when I speak to them, they're like, oh yeah, people are starting to talk about DevHub, especially in the franchise world. I've noticed that a lot of businesses start to outgrow WordPress when it gets to be like around maybe 20 or so locations. So I don't know if that's where you guys came from. I know that those are the businesses that have mentioned that they're working with you now, but I'm just curious. So tell me, sort of the evolution.
So in some ways, I'd say we've always been here, but behind the scenes of some of the leading marketing technologies and agencies that have existed or no longer exist, we were so white labeled and private labeled. All the way down to the source code is what I used to say. So they rebranded, called it, everything from, again, just straight up local pages to microsites to dealer pages to whatnot. And it was always DevHub behind the scenes. But the way we saw it, that they would treat a brand was just another revenue stream for them, not necessarily the care that brands needed, especially when we had several like aha moments post 2020, March 2020, where it was like, oh, brands want this integration. Oh, they want to be more flexible at the local level. Different stakeholders want different permission access. And we're like, and the people we were licensing to basically did not want to do that. So we're like, you know what, screw it, we're going to go direct. And the second question was...
No, that was it.
No. When do brands, when is like the breaking point? Lately I've been saying, once you have more than 2 websites, you have a problem, but it is truly probably right around 20 where it gets a little bit more...
20 local pages.
Yeah. 20 local pages, microsites, yes.
Something like that, yeah. I've seen businesses really struggle to sort of look in 20 different directions at once and try to gain relevance. And what I've heard about DevHub is DevHub sites are apparently wicked fast. And that certainly helps, rankings right across the board. So is that part of the secret sauce?
So I'm not the smart one at DevHub. That's my co-founder. I will say yes to everything, but it just makes me proud because I know how hard the team actually cares about that type of stuff.
Yeah.
That I think other people can claim it, but like we actually build with it first.
Yeah.
And they're constantly testing as they're building. Shout out Eric, shout out that team who's just like, even new people who we're recruiting, it's like, hey, so this is the out the box standard. We will not ship anything unless it has all the core web vitals at the highest levels. And again, it's so funny when people talk about it, like you're mentioning it. It makes me just think about their work. But yes, 100%.
No, I think that makes a big difference. And marketing teams have to be lean and mean and fast moving, and there's a lot on their plates. I mean, there's so many different activities now that marketing teams have to be working on, and nobody's anxious to necessarily add staff. And even having an agency developing a lot of different pages, that has its pluses if you have a good agency, and if you have one that's just templating it, you just end up with templates and nothing that's particularly customized or necessarily fast moving. So anyway, it's interesting to hear about DevHub. Another question that I had was, obviously everybody's talking about AI, and in the website world, and I saw one of your podcasts where I think you were discussing how DevHub's looking at AI, and realizing, and this was, talk about aha moments, to start to see how AI is serving up what's basically the website content that we've all worked so hard to develop, these long tail question and answers and voice search responses, and that stuff now is just being totally repurposed by AI with no attribution, in terms of who wrote it,
Right.
So, but tell me, more on the backside, on the CMS side, what do we need to be looking at to make sure that we're AI ready
So-
from a CMS perspective?
Yeah. So almost every day when I'm in Seattle and I talk to my co-founder, I'm like, how are we still talking about websites in 2025? Like, I don't get it. Like, I thought we'd be living in virtual reality. Remember metaverse? Like, I thought all that stuff. And so he's like, the website will always be relevant. I'm like, how are you so sure? And so he says on one end of the spectrum, he says that it's truly the brand's voice, it's the brand's presence, look, feel, interaction. And then on the flip side of that, it's how you still, even the AI agents, whatnot, are still interacting with those integrations with booking, online ordering, scheduling. It's still happening on the sites, even if they're having to pull those sites into, let's say, the large language models. But how we're looking at AI for real right now, and hopefully there'll be a demo by the time that even this comes out, is two sides. One, the way the consumer is interacting with, again, some of the large language model things, the ChatGPTs, the Claudes, the Perplexities, where it's like, how are they searching? And then how are those tools, those LLMs, AIs, are actually reading, let's say, a site on DevHub, right? So we always thought it was a data play in terms of understanding how to structure the data to make those particular systems read our sites, in theory, better than others. On the flip side, it's like, how do you use AI to create your own internal web developer? To be like, hey, I want to go update the Northwest region of my websites with particular this content or this promo, that those tools, those AI agent tools that are being built also have all the direct access to DevHub to understand how DevHub is built to go execute on those tasks. So it's not just like clicking buttons and toggles, but it understands structurally how a DevHub site interacts through APIs, through us feeding him that information to be able to actually complete those tasks as if it's a web developer internally. And then, that whole side of it all. And so hopefully there'll be a demo that comes out soon. That's what we're seeing as a whole company this Friday.
Well, cool.
My co-founder showing us everybody.
Well, perfect timing, because actually I was going to ask, I'm trying to get a group of my people together for a demonstration.
Yeah.
I was hoping that you would do that for us, because I'd like to get some of the people that I know and trust in the digital world to take a look as well, so that I can understand a little behind the scenes, and then we're going to speak a little and have some conversations. We can be a little sounding board for you if you like. And I don't know if anybody's interested in doing that, but I'd love to grab a few of you out there who are dealing with websites all the time, particularly those of you that have a lot of locations or really have your hands full. So if you're interested in seeing some more about DevHub and getting an actual demonstration from Mark and his team, drop me a line and I'll set it up, and then we can compare notes later, and maybe we'll even look at a few of the competitors. You up for some friendly competition?
I love it.
Nice.
I believe in Tom Brady.
There we go. On that note, see ya. Drop me a note if you want to be in on the demonstration, and I'll set it up. Thanks.
Thank you, Luann. Thank you.